I have no idea how loud that was because I realized I didn't put on speakerphone. But welcome to Alive in One. My name is Stephen Maddox, and today I have Nick Shaw.
How you doing?
And then special guest is Zeke. Zeke, I forgot your last name though. I know it starts
Yeah,
with an
no
S.
worries. It is Zeke Sudbury. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. So Zeke and I played in the finals game of the Timeline event at Adepticon, and we want to have him on because I want to have an episode talking about that actual event and just Adepticon in general. Zeke, do you want to give a little where you're from, how'd you get in the hobby, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, I'll give kind of a crash course. So I currently live in Richmond, Virginia. I grew up in Tennessee, so I'll cut a lot of my gaming roots into the eastern Knoxville, Tennessee area. A lot of 40K background, but really got into MCP and skirmish gaming probably in the last couple of years. Really, once I moved up to Virginia and found a fantastic gaming store here with just a ton of great players and a community that really thrives on skirmish gaming.
Nice. And it's also, I guess let's do this now because there's a really funny small world connection that we had where I got off the plane going into Adepticon and you saw my carry bag, right? Because all the carry bags and models look pretty similar. Right. And we started talking about what you played in and stuff like that. Found out we were both playing in Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is funny. Found out that you listened to the episode where I was talking to Jen about the charity event on that flight. And then also found out I'm born and raised in Virginia, 45 minutes from Richmond. So it's what a small effing world this is.
Yeah, I think the best part was you said you're in the main community. I was like, oh, you must be with the Live on One guys, right?
Yeah. It's oh, that's me.
That's me.
Yeah,
I'm one of those guys.
I know. It's really funny. And then we ended up pairing in the finals together of Timelines on the very last day, even more so.
Spoiler alert. Maybe I've been calling it a little bit kismet, but I came to Adepticon kind of on my own this year. This is my 5th Adepticon, but coming off the plane, I was like, this is not bringing any friends, just want to go for MCP for 4 days in a row. And met you coming off the plane, and then we got to spend kind of the weekend hanging out and playing in the finals.
I know, right? Really, really fun event, I gotta say. And it was a really fun time, I have to say. This is my first ever Adepticon, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous. I want to go so bad.
We'll get you out there next year, Nick. We'll make it happen. You and Bork.
It'll happen. We'll get out there.
So before we go too far into that, of course, we have to do a little intro stuff like we always do. So I have characters left alive on one. I have a really funny one from my first Lost in the Worlds at Adepticon. I lost because I couldn't kill an Apocalypse, and he's alive on one to win with 4 hammers. And I was like, man, how fitting. Because I was wearing the Alive in One t-shirt. I was like, I can't even complain that I lost this game.
Yeah, I feel like it happens a lot more than I realized it until we started talking about it. But I had probably every other game this situation come up.
I know, right? That's why it's such a good name, because it advertises itself.
That's right.
What about you, Nick? Did you play any games over the weekend or anything like that?
I mean, I played one of our locals last Thursday, but I don't think I had any live on ones. I'm trying to remember.
I have another really good one.
No, I don't think I did.
For the end.
There was no memorable alive on ones, I'll say that. I was trying out the new Inhumans, so I was just kind of forcing stuff to see what would happen.
That's fair.
I lost pretty badly. I will say Terragenesis is such a good card. It took me from going to lose by 6 points to only losing by 3.
Oh yeah. So
it really swung the game a little bit.
I know I won I didn't win them. I got them my swag bag for Adepticon, so I'm like, maybe I'll actually play these guys.
I didn't realize the stuff they gave you for. You bought the slightly more expensive one.
Yeah, I bought the advanced badge. Zeke, did you get that, or did you just get a normal badge?
Yeah, I actually just got a normal badge and kind of regretted a bit seeing everything. I mean, Skaven Tide 40Ks or a Sigmar sets given out. They had Shatterpoint boxes. And
3 AMG boxes inside of it.
Yeah,
and I think do you remember how much your ticket was?
I want to say mine was in the magnitude of $60 or somewhere around there. Okay,
that's what I thought. It's 60, 70. I think the advanced ticket was 180 or something like that.
But you got way more product.
Yeah. You got a Skaven Tide box, 3 boxes of AMG product, paint, a bunch of models, deck of cards, pens, badges, all kinds of stuff. I was like, wow, this is super worth it.
I will say the one bad thing is if you weren't prepared for that, you weren't getting any of it home.
Yeah. I did go, I think, Saturday back to the con hall, and they had a big box of pop-up cardboard terrain, and I was like, I do not want this. So I found the first person. I kept asking people, do you want this? And he's like, yes. And so I just handed it off to the first person that I saw that wanted it.
So I did find out that there was, like, I don't know if you found it, Maddox, but apparently there was like a Facebook swapping group where you could have swapped your stuff with stuff
Dang.
that
I
you
just gave it
wanted.
to some random person.
So
Yeah,
next year, you might be able to actually do some swapping for like,
Oh,
here's my Shatterpoint stuff for your MCV stuff.
yeah.
The Shatterpoint stuff was in high demand because those got delayed about 6 weeks by
Did they
AMG,
really?
So
I didn't
people were paying good money for those.
Well, dang, I missed out. I had the Aqua Dwarves for Legion, and I was going up the escalator, and I saw a guy carrying his Legion stuff down. I'm like, you want this? I just handed it to him across the escalators as he went down, I went up. Cool. Hobby catch-up. I obviously didn't really do that much hobby because I was at Adepticon. I did break my Namor at Adepticon.
Oh, no.
I'm sure with like 5 other people.
I'd say I feel
so
bad, but we know how I feel about Namor.
Yeah, I know, right? Zeke, if you don't know, Nick hates Namor. Like
Playing
with a
against
passion.
them or just the
I
model
hate
in
the
general?
character.
The character.
Yeah.
The Speedos don't do it for you, I guess.
No.
I found a cool way of fixing him. I have like an army painter drill kit, and the smallest drill is actually narrower than diameter of his trident. So I drilled a hole into the hand and then back up into the trident, and then I cut the drill bit down into pieces, and I used the metal like butt of the drill bit, and I pinned it with that. Yeah.
Why didn't you just go find a stinking paper clip? I mean,
the paper clips are too thick.
They make thin ones.
Okay, well, Nick, I didn't have that.
Like,
and I had this in front of
I
me.
have a whole like baggie of just paper clips for when this situation arises.
Dude,
somewhere.
well,
Where is it?
My solution has worked pretty well so far. I'm really happy with it.
Like, I keep looking at the Shatterpoint minis that I've built, and I'm like, this lightsaber is going to break. I need to
Yep.
a solution.
Oh, yeah. I had that happen during the convention.
Did you? Yeah. I'm probably going to like try and find some small metal that can just cut to size and use that for lightsabers. Because those things are so thin. I'm like, come on, AMG.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I had one complaint about AMG's models, it's just...
They look great, but they're kind of fragile.
Make them a little thicker. Like,
yeah.
It's all right if you make these just a hair thicker. It wouldn't hurt it.
Did you do any of the other hobby stuff, Nick?
So I've been painting 4 urban mechs from BattleTech, and they're being painted as if they were the Fantastic Four because I'm in an Urby Derby on Saturday, and everybody's bringing different themed urban mechs. Funny. So there'll be pictures eventually. I've got to paint them tonight when we're done. I'm going to do some more painting on them because I'm a little behind.
Nice.
Yeah.
Send pics when you're done. That actually sounds kind of funny.
I will, yeah.
And then Zeke, I found out, is like a professional painter.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I very much enjoy the painting side of the hobby. So I am taking a break from it right now. The kind of stretch to get ready for Adepticon was a lot, but I'm going to take at least a couple weeks off to just
so. Are you painter first and game player second, or?
I got into the hobby for the painting aspect, but I am definitely competitive-minded player. So I would rather be playing, but I want to play with painted stuff. So that's kind of what motivated me.
And get like the best of both worlds right there.
Yeah.
Do you mind dropping your? Because Zeke actually entered in the Worthy competition. Do you mind dropping those pictures in the Discord?
Yeah, I'll definitely put those in the Discord.
Because I really liked
them to the Facebook group today.
Oh, cool. I really liked your Shang-Chi Iron Fist one.
Yeah, thank you. So I entered an Apocalypse for kind of a single, and then a Shang-Chi versus Iron Fist for kind of a duel, which is one of the categories for Path of the Worthy.
Yeah. So you made like a little scene with them. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Called it Dragon Chases Its Tail.
I like it.
Great name.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
I think, because I have some like talking points about the Worthy, but I say let's talk about it now because we're talking about hobby stuff, if you're cool with that. Can I just ask you questions about it?
Go off script. Don't go.
I do what I want, Nick.
Are you Bork now? What's happening?
But yeah, so Worthy, was it like one bronze winner, one silver, one gold, or is it kind of like the Nova painting where it's like, hey, you meet the criteria of bronze, you get a bronze?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's like the Nova criteria where they're looking for a certain level of narrative and skills and techniques and execution. So there could be any number of golds, any number of silvers or bronze within a category. But then they choose one gold to become the worthy, I guess is what they call that.
Yeah,
and that's
so
where you see the
winner.
giant Thor hammer. But what I really like about this is that they encourage you to come in enter as you are. Kind of, they want you to tell the story, but even if you don't medal, they still have all these feedback sessions as well. So you can go meet with the judges, meet with AMG studio painters to say, hey, this is why we think you got bronze or silver or gold or whatever. Then here's how you can improve for the next year. So
That's
an
cool.
incredible hobby event just to
Yeah,
get feedback direct from studio painters.
Yeah, I
So
want to do that next year so bad.
Did you enter Golden Demon by chance, since you're primary, like you like the painting aspect, or
I
did you?
didn't actually.
Okay.
It's been on my radar. The Golden Demon takes everything we saw in Path of the Worthy and just kicks it up a notch. I saw a lot of those pictures and they're insane, and that's a huge motivating factor. But maybe next year I'll try to pull something together.
I think you should.
Yeah, it means going back to GW, which is kind of the dark side of the hobby, but it might be worth it for the painting aspect.
Their models are gorgeous, though. Like,
Yeah,
they make some really nice models.
I picked up some Sigmar models within the past year just to paint. So.
I think the Sigmar models are far superior to 40k models.
Yep.
Yeah, especially any of their monsters or characters.
Yes. Yep.
Also, have you played Spearhead at all?
I haven't. So I picked up a City of Sigmar Spearhead box, and that's kind of what I've been painting, but I haven't played the game yet.
I would say if you have any interest at all, Spearhead is actually quite fun because it is like a lot more smaller scale, easier. It's not like super nitty gritty like points value, blah 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 blah. It's really easy to pick up. It's pretty fun to play.
Yeah, I'll give that a shot.
Now you have like 4 armies for it because you got that Scaventide box.
I know I did. I think of that. Took up half my suitcase coming home. I'm like, I bring this home.
You probably could have like tore the box down and had more room if you just like.
See, I could have done that, Nick, but then Saturday it was like the finals cut, and then I was on the professional casual stream, and so I didn't get back to my hotel until like 12:30, and then I had to play in top 8s the next day. So I did not want to bother packing. I just threw everything in a bag.
Just stuff it and run away.
Yeah, I was like, I don't got time. Yeah, anything else about Worthy you'd like to say, Zeke?
I just think it's something that if you're going to Adepticon, try to submit something to it. I don't think it's necessarily something that you have to fret over or sweat over. It's just such a great experience to put yourself out there, get feedback, and learn how to improve.
Yeah. I like that you're putting this out there because I had originally thought it was like a super competitive, you had to be really good at painting to do anything on it. But once I got there and kind of looked at it and talked to you about it, I was like, oh, I should have done this, right? This sounds really fun. And so I would agree, like, hey, put this out there that like, just enter it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's incredible artwork there. You'll see the winners, I think, got posted this week to AMG's website. And so, yeah, those guys have put in countless hours. But for the average gamer, it's still a fantastic way just to get some feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. You do any other fun hobby stuff since getting back from Adepticon, or not really, because you probably did a whole lot before going?
We'll talk about this later, but the Richmond Open is coming up in about a month, and I'm running the Shatterpoint event there, and I need to start pulling together some terrain. So that's going to be my April project, is getting about 8 tables ready for that.
That's a lot of terrain.
Yeah, my local store is going to be able to help out some, but it is a lot.
That game wants a fair amount of terrain.
Yeah,
from what I've noticed playing it.
The beauty is that coming back from Adepticon, all the tables there are all official AMG terrain for the most part. We got to kind of see what a good table looks like.
Yep.
And it's a huge inspiration. So they've taken the base terrain and painted it 4 or 5 different ways based on different maps.
Well, cool. So let's move on to comics. On the flight, I actually almost caught up on all of the new Ultimates universe. I'm basically almost done with year 1. Really enjoying them, I gotta say, so far. I forgot how much I liked them. Also, how I don't have to feel like I have to read 9,000 different comics to know what's going on. It's just like a pretty easy reading list that's just right on Marvel Unlimited to figure it out. So I've quite enjoyed it. What about you, Nick?
What have I read? I've actually not been reading a lot of Marvel.
Are you okay? Oh, not Marvel. Okay. I was like, you're the one that like reads the most.
I know. I haven't been enjoying Marvel's stuff. Like, the Ultimate Spider-Man is probably one of the few that's ongoing that I've been enjoying. The rest I've kind of just been like, meh, recently. Other than that, I've been reading the new Aquaman run from DC.
So the Namor run?
The superior Namor. I've been reading Zatanna, the new Zatanna run from DC. And then I picked up a manga what's the word? Like a retelling comic version or manga version of the Call of Cthulhu. And I've been reading that, and that's been really cool, and the artwork is phenomenal. And that's basically what's been taking up my comic time recently. I'm almost done that. So
That sounds kind of cool.
it's cool. It's
What about
very
you,
cool.
Zeke? Are you a comic reader, Zeke, or no?
I definitely was in the past. I haven't read anything in about a year. Been kind of on a fantasy novel kick over the past
Nice.
couple of years. But the AMG reveals have got me pretty hyped to go back and read something like the Extinction is Tolerant storyline about the
I know,
Sentinels.
right?
So
Oh
I think
yeah,
that's next on my queue.
And I also there's a lot of characters coming out I know nothing about.
There's
So I'm
a
like, I should
lot
go
of-
in and actually start reading
Yeah,
about
the
them.
X Factor got a
yeah.
big applause from the audience. I'm like, I haven't read anything from them. So.
Yeah. Or the Blue Marvel and the new Avengers affiliation. I'm like, I don't know any of those guys.
I don't know who Blue Marvel is.
Yeah. His model looked cool. I'll give him that.
Yeah, all their models.
He
look
gives me
great
like
now.
Superman vibes whenever I see him. I
can
don't know
kind
if
of
that's
see
like
that,
what
I
he's
guess.
based off of, but that's kind of like when I see artwork of him, I'm like, is this Superman?
Cosmic Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. So upcoming events. April 26th down at Red Seal Gaming down in New Jersey is the Becky's final. So the Becky is the Big East Crisis Cup circuit. It was kind of like the East Coast Invitational event to compete with LVO, so you don't have to go to Vegas for it. And so the New Jersey team is playing the New England team. Or I guess I should say the Tri-State area team is playing the New England team. And I do believe Will, who's one of the judges at Adepticon, is running a normal challenger event secondary to it. So it's not just the team event going on there. And then Crossroads up in Maine, of course, either April 26th. I was actually going to talk to you, Nick, or maybe May 10th. We'll probably have our next one. It was kind of funny. I dropped a poll for people to say, hey, what do you want to play? Do you want to play Timeline or do you want to play Challenger? And it's actually Timeline is winning right now, which I thought was kind of funny. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe this format has more legs to it than most people think. Because I quite enjoyed it.
Something different too.
Mm-hmm. This is a good example of something different.
I know one of our locals
we'll,
really wants to do the drafting aspect, and he owns like every model, so we might have to do that at some point.
At some point. Yeah. What were we going to say, Zeke?
I was going to say that the timeline, we'll talk about it later, but it's a lot more fun than it reads on paper.
I 100% agree with you right now. Because
we might be a little biased because we spent a lot of timeline games.
It's kind of funny you say that. Because I feel like Maddox, you were like very against timeline.
I was. If you go back in the previous episodes, I was like, this seems stupid. I don't want to play this, but I'm going to play it. And then actually getting there and doing the models, and then the night before of like actually like looking at tactics cards and kind of like more characters and stuff like that. I was like, this is kind of fun. And then playing it, it was actually pretty fun, I have to say.
I think it's good for you.
I know,
forces you to
different.
not play Shield constantly.
Because I talked to Will Schick at the end of the tournament too about how like, hey, I was a big I thought this was kind of a stupid format, and after playing it, I'm like, wow, this has completely changed my mind. Thank you for doing it. And then I put in here May 2nd and 4th is Richmond Open, because that is your event, Zeke. Or not your event, but
so
you're
I
be
am
there.
luckily just participating when it comes to MCP side. So the past couple of years, I've missed it from the MCP GT, and this year I'm going to actually be able to attend and get to play an event. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Friday, I'm running the Shatterpoint event, and then Saturday and Sunday is the actual MCP GT. I think
Is it an AMG GT?
It is, actually. Yeah, so this
better.
is an officially sponsored GT. There might even still be some tickets open, but I know it's been a pretty competitive field. I know we've got some of the guys from Northern Virginia coming down, some of the guys from kind of Baltimore area as well. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, Richmond Open was actually my last 40K tournament I played in. And I did like their setup. This is back when they were in downtown Richmond, though. So I know they've moved up a little bit north. I don't know the name of the area anymore. Woodbridge? No, that's not right.
Yeah,
they moved up north.
It's about 30 minutes outside the city, which is better for locals, but maybe not so much if you're traveling in.
Yeah. Good. Sounds like a fun event. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, it's get to ride that high from Adepticon right into another GT, which is great.
You get more yellow dice.
That's true. You always need more.
Yeah.
Jealous. I want some yellow dice.
Well, I got extra to do away at Crossroad events.
But that means I have to earn them.
I mean, yeah, technically you're right. I also don't know how much I want to give away at once. Do I want to be that guy who's like, you get one die? Or do I want to give a set of it?
Well, how much did you get? Are Or you just
I have
give me all the dice in the entire...
I have 20.
That's quite a few.
Yeah. And then Iron World will also have them, and Everwinter will have them. So they're not going to be like super rare. I feel like the blue dice were like, ooh, man, that's hard to get at first. But I feel like the other ones would be pretty easy to get.
Yeah, apparently they started giving out the yellow ones even in LVO this year.
Mm-hmm.
So they've already been circulating for a bit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mine roll really well, I will say.
Yeah, they do for defense.
That stream game was hilarious. All right, cool. Let's move on to Adepticon itself, right? So obviously, most people probably know what Adepticon is at this point. I think if you're big enough in the miniatures hobby that you're listening to podcasts about it, you probably know what Adepticon is. But it's a big miniature convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was our first year in Milwaukee. It used to be in the Schaumburg in
Yeah, Schaumburg, Illinois. So about an hour-ish outside of the city.
Gotcha. I think this new event center they went to in Milwaukee, I thought it was great. It was super easy to get to. Loads of space, it felt like. I love that did you go to the food court place across the road?
I did, actually. I was like really blown away by how accessible that was. And even with a bunch of Adepticon attendees there, it was relatively fast and you could eat or drink whatever you wanted there. I mean, it was pretty cool.
It was awesome. Like, there's so many selections there. You could have like basically whatever you want. And then, if you go as a group, you could be like, this person's going to go over and get that. This person will go over and get that. I had a really good burrito from there.
Yeah, and I heard that they're only about 50% capacity for that. So they've got a ton of room to grow at that Baird Center.
Oh, that's really exciting.
Over the next few years, we'll really see how big Adepticon can get.
Yeah, and so it's AMG's actually like official event. Like, it's their event kind of thing, which is really cool. And then this year they did a World's Championship, right? Where it's like that's a normal challenger event. It's the World's one. It was 2 heats that then paired into a top 32 together. And then from there, a top 8, or I guess top 16, top 8, whatever. And then Timeline was the same thing. It was 2 heats that came together. Unfortunately, Timelines was like big at first, but then people who had placed well in Worlds then dropped out of Timeline, so it got a little bit smaller. But still a fairly large event, I would say.
Yeah, I think each World Heat had maybe 80 players or so, give or take 10. And there were multiple countries represented, so it was a true Worlds, not just the U.S. I think there was Canada, Belgium, kind of a Spain representative
shout out
as
to
well.
Matt and Louise. I had dinner with them a couple nights, and I played Matt 3 times at Adepticon. He gave me a little tiny claw, like turn marker, like 3D print model, because Claw's the only Belgian Marvel character that's out there, which is kind of funny.
That's pretty cool, though.
And then also they had like a lot of little side events, right? So I played in one that's called the New Crisis in Town. That was my Friday event, where you basically just played out like the narrative missions from the Gladiator box, where you do them the 2 pairs that are set together, and each round's a different set of 2. So that was fun just to play the new ones.
Nick mentioned a draft event that would look really cool. That was on Thursday.
Oh, they did do a draft there.
Yeah, they called it a what if event. And
That's
so
cool.
It's pretty much every model possible. And everyone was affiliated with everyone. So if you grabbed Malekith, you could have Malekith and Hulkbuster running together, which was kind of cool to see on the table.
I missed it the day on Thursday. That would have been fun to play.
Yeah, it sells out quick because there's only, 12 slots or something.
That makes sense because there's only so many models.
Yeah.
Going back to that point you made about being AMG's specific tournament, I think one of the things that was really interesting was that they really show up and really supported this event. So the prize wall was awesome, but you also see the designers. You're talking about meeting Schick and Pagani there. I mean, those 2 in Dallas were handing out trophies at the end of the weekend. And Simone, the head of studio, was walking around the show quite a bit too. So they really invest in this show from marketing and personnel and kind of like their love.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool to actually meet those people. I gotta say, I nerded out a little bit. I was like, oh, this is pretty sweet. I never had anything similar to this in 40K.
I think you'd have to go to, England
for that, probably. Yeah. Prize Wall was awesome. Obviously, this is my first year with it, but it sounded like it was, the economy of it was a lot healthier, I guess is one way of putting it, where it was actually like, hey, I could get the things I want off this fairly simply.
Last year we kind of ran into an issue, not really an issue, but it was a situation where the movement tools cost 75 tickets and you might get 5 for playing a game and 1 additional for winning. So it took a lot of saving up to get, if you wanted that movement tool and dice, that was basically your whole weekend. But here wins were 10 tickets, and the price of everything came down. So they really just kind of invested back in their player base, and it felt good. Everyone kind of got to walk away with what they wanted.
I was going to ask, what about for the guy that doesn't win any?
You still get tickets.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, for example, playing in the timeline, or excuse me, the World Heat, you got 30 tickets just for playing.
Oh, okay. So you're 20 away from
the scoreboard or the yeah. And then they also have like a league you can sign up on, where you're basically you can play 3 league games, which are just like pickup games that let people in league. And you get a punch and you get a ticket from that. So you could get like 15 tickets a day that way fairly easily as well.
And the best part is the league games could be anywhere you want. I mean, the hall is open till midnight, so you can play in the hall on official AMG tables until midnight. But if you want to go back to your hotel and play in the lobby until 2 a.m. with some buddies, you can still do that too and count it for the league.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And it could have been like a quick, easy, fun game. Like they weren't like, oh, tell me exactly the league game you played. You're like, I played the game. You're like, all right, cool, great, you played a game. And so like they were really straightforward with it. It was really nice.
Yeah, it was interesting. They gave everyone like these yellow stickers on their badge to kind of identify who else is in the league as a way to kind of quickly walk up and ask if they want to play a league game. And they also tried out new crises. I don't know if you got to see those, Steven, but
oh yeah, I forgot. I don't know where I put those.
They were kind of weird, but kind of fun. So I'm excited to try those.
Game testing for you,
essentially. They should have put a feedback form at the end of the event to say, "Hey, what did you like?" They brought back E's and more Senators shaped style crises, so it was kind of cool.
Nice. See what else about Adepticon in general. Prize roll is good. See, this is why I have the guideline right here. So when I get lost, I can dig in.
One other point I'll mention is that we, or at least myself, I was gaming pretty much Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But there's a lot of other things going on. If you just want to go through like painting classes, there's the options for those. Or if you just want to do pickup games all day, of course, you can do that as well. They've got so much room now that they have tables to do whatever you need to do. Yeah, half of them are dedicated for the tournament, but the other half are just go have some fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I think something about that actually, which I kind of going into this didn't quite know that. I almost wish I had a day I didn't sign up for anything, just so I could walk around the convention.
Yeah, the exhibit hall was quite big too.
Yeah. And I feel like, I would go through it during lunch, and then the new crisis in town, that finished at like 3 o'clock, so I had a couple hours to walk through then. But I feel like I barely touched it.
Yeah, I had a scheduled Sunday for that, and we'll get into why that did not work out.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. I guess one other thing to mention is just like we had so many like-minded kind of MCP enthusiasts in the room. I was looking for league games that could post in pretty much any Discord, and I was able to meet up with people like Mike DeLuca from the Danger Room was like, hey, we'll do a pickup game. And those guys like, you want to join us for dinner? So, it's just like a great way to meet people and kind of make a whole weekend out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say Mike is actually one of like the nicest MCP guys I've met. He's
super friendly. I think we got through a league game in an hour because we both knew what we were doing, and it just went real quick.
Yeah. Boy, he kicked my ass out of Everwinter back in January, I gotta say, and that's where the Loki 1 meme comes in of why I don't like Loki 1.
Yeah, it turns out he's real good.
Yeah, the guy knows what he's doing. Surprise, surprise, he won Worlds. But, if I had to pick a player to win Worlds, it probably would have been him. No offense to anybody else, but that guy knows what he's doing.
So how did you do in the Worlds event then, Steven?
Ooh, so I only went 2-2. I lost my 2 first games, and then I won my last 2. I will say, though, like, the games I lost, I was fine losing. Again, I lost because I left Apocalypse alive on 1, which was fine. I almost kind of came back. If Namor would have lived, I would have won that game. My second game was really funny. It didn't come down to it, but it kind of recaps the game really well, where I had a 16 dice Helios laser into a mummy, and I did 5 damage or 5 hits, and it did 1 damage to mummy. And I was like, boy, that feels bad.
Yeah. 2 energy defense coming in strong for the mummy.
I know, right? That mummy, man. And then he just like goes, heals, punches a character, kills him, picks up the extract, sits on a secure, and wins the game. I'm like, cool, this is great. But again, it was kind of funny because I texted Jen because I talked about my game with Jen from the last charity event where I just kind of diced Jen and won. I'm like, look, it's the MCP world revolving. It came back onto me this time. That's how it goes. So I couldn't be mad. Little side note I'll put there, my round 2 appointment that happened with, when the game ended, he was like, hey, we could just call it here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, score out your points and stuff like that. And I'm glad I told him that because he got to top 16 cut in the heat because he had a tied strength of schedule and he beat out somebody else by 1 victory point. So it's like, score out your points.
Yeah, those matter.
Exactly, they're a tiebreaker. And then the last 2 rounds are really good. My last round was really fun because I played Chris Bruffett from Furious Finest. Another really, really good podcast. That was actually the first MCP podcast I started listening to. And it was funny because he brought Shield. So we had a Shield mirror match where our lists were almost identical, except I think I had Howling Commandos and he had Zemo, and I had Bullseye and he had Black Widow too. But it was very much like a Namor chess match where it was like Namor kind of positioned around the board where we didn't want to jump into each other just yet. And then we both had Hawkeye shooting the other Namor trying to slow him constantly. It was a really fun game.
Yeah. What crises were you on?
Oh, what crises were we on? We were on, I think it was Guardian Safe Shi'ar and Hammers.
Yeah, so the speed does matter there for rotation.
Yeah. And then like he had his Hawkeye pick up a hammer. So it was 6 dice attacking, which is like, ooh, that was a good idea. I just picked it up with my grunts. And I was like, that's a good idea in the future. What about you? How'd you do in Worlds?
Yeah, I also went 2-2. My losses were Shield and Avengers. I had win, loss, win, loss. I played a lot of Shield throughout this weekend, and also played against a lot of She-Hulk, which we'll talk about later. But I think I played She-Hulk 5 times over the course of the weekend.
That's so
just
funny.
kind of surprising. But yeah, I think my loss was on Guardian Safe Shi'ar, and I just got out-rotated. And then Avengers was just a slugfest, 20 threat. Steve bodyguarding and Okoye bodyguarding, so it's a good match, but couldn't quite get through all of that.
Yeah. But it was a fun event. Like I say, even 2-2, like out of that many players, and it's like people traveling to Adepticon to be like really competitive. I was very happy with 2-2.
Yeah, I think even some 2-2s make cuts, so it's one of those things where you just got to play off the games and try to get your points.
Yeah. So then, timeline happened. I guess both heats happened on the same day, right? Yeah, it was both happening on Saturday, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was 2 heats that came together. It was weirdly like one little like nitpick, I guess you could say, is I wish they took some of the players from Heat 1 and put them into Heat 2 and kind of like dispersed it a little bit, because Heat 1 had, I think, 10 more players than Heat 2 or 12 more players than Heat 2 or something like that.
Yeah, we had a lot of people in. I was in Heat 2, you're in Heat 1. That's kind of how this is bracketed. We had a lot more people in Heat 2 that were signed up, but then ended up making cut and having to drop. So it ended up being a bit of a strange structure for this. But one thing I think that was really interesting is how they organize these heats. Is they're almost 2 separate tournaments that run to their own central champion, and then those champions kind of play off in the finals to crown an actual timeline winner.
Yeah, I agree. That was kind of cool. So you kind of like, that's why I played Matt so many times, because he was in my heat, and I played him in the normal like 3 rounds, and then I played him in the top 8.
Yeah. I have the same story with a guy named Ron. That might come up later, but I think I played him 3 times throughout the weekend. Fantastic opponent, incredible sport as well. Hope to play him again in the future. Yeah,
I might hope to play any of these people I played again in the future, because I think something about Adepticon is I did not play a single person that I was like, I did not like playing against you. I was like, every single person I played against was great.
Impressive.
Yeah, I know, that's saying something.
Yeah, especially in a competitive tournament format.
Yeah, I was like, this is a great time. I guess real quick, actually, before we jump too far into time, we should kind of explain how it works. Because something I've learned talking to people afterwards, or like posting the poll about, hey, do people want to do time event? Is not everybody knows what it is. So it is a game style, a way to play the game, where instead of having like one roster of 10, you have 3 rosters of 10 characters, no character can overlap, no tactics cards can overlap, and no crisis can overlap. And then to pick your characters, you can't just pick whoever you want. It's a set selection of characters that AMG posts. So this year was like a cosmic kind of one, where those are the only where you can pick from. So like this year, Immortal Hulk wasn't in it. You've heard me talk about before. Most of S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't in it. I only had 4 affiliated models with S.H.I.E.L.D.
But Taskmaster, maybe?
I know, right? Taskmaster, Agent Venom, She-Hulk, and Namor.
But did you have heavy firepower?
I almost brought it, but then I said, no, this card's not good, and I didn't bring it. So yeah, you go through that, and then you have roster 1, 2, 3. So like example, my roster 1 was Asgard, my roster 2 was Midnight Sun, my roster 3 was S.H.I.E.L.D. And you basically, round 1, you play 1, round 2, you play the second one, round 3, you play the third one. And then they did it kind of weird, / it sounds like we maybe messed it up a little bit, where we were supposed to go like 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, but we went like 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 3, which is kind of weird, but you basically rotate your rosters, you're not playing the same thing all the time.
Yeah, so the way it works is you go 1, 2, 3, and then you have a top cut, and then top cut goes 3, 2, 1, and then you do 3 for the finals. So it felt a little bit weird to play 3 back to back. And then there was a day between the top cut and then the next day. So you started the second day playing roster 2, which felt a little strange. Even the judges had to kind of like do a second take and say, yeah, I think this is how it works, and go back and check. But one of the, I guess, interesting parts of this is, as you mentioned, the roster changes every year. So when this was first announced, there was a lot of, I guess we'll call it echo chambers in the podcast that were saying, this is a weird way to balance the game. Yeah, like Bill is still in this, but you're not going to allow Immortal Hulk, or back then it might have been something different. But it ends up being kind of a fun way to force yourself to play characters that are still good, but you might have just been leaving them on the shelf. So for me, it was like Juggernaut and Maw. Still great characters, but I'm not going to be reaching for Juggernaut as my 5 and Space Maw as my 6 a lot. And this kind of forces you to do that because you need to bring 30 unique characters.
Yeah, which is it's a lot more than you think it's going to be. I remember going through it, was like, man, I have to try to, like, I had some of my roster buildings just because I didn't have certain, like, I didn't have Abomination. I would have loved Abomination, but I didn't have them. And so you're kind of stuck with what you have to make lists out of.
Yeah, and it can be a bit of a barrier to entry for new players. So I've got a diehard local to me that just like will only ever play webs, and he's fantastic at webs. Webs weren't in it this year. So this is kind of something where he probably won't have any interest in playing timeline. But for, I guess, players that have been doing this for 2 years, kind of accumulated a roster of models, and it's not too bad. You might have 15 to 25 of these already. So it's not too hard to fill out the remaining numbers you need.
Yeah. It was really, it was really fun, actually. Going through, like, painting the models, because you obviously have to be painted at Adepticon. Because there's a lot of models I probably would have never painted. But I was like, I'll paint it, I guess, because I need it for this event. So it's actually kind of nice to run through and play it.
Yeah, I think we even spoke that I had a lot of the Guardian characters, like Cosmic Ghost Rider and Bill and Yondu, Nova, from playing other teams, but actually didn't own Star-Lord. Yeah. So this was like a way for me to get Star-Lord and actually play out Guardians of the Galaxy, which was fun.
So yeah, what are the 3 lists you brought?
So I brought X-Force, I brought Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Midnight Suns, and that's kind of like my order. We can talk maybe why the order matters, but for me, I wanted something that was relatively easy to play, but my strategy was also I wanted terrain throws in every list. I needed someone who could throw size 4, because only one of your opponent's rosters has Brace, so there's a 66% chance they didn't have Brace that game.
Yep. I guess you could have Indomitable, but a little bit different.
Yeah, that's true. So for me, X-Force could have been Brotherhood. I think Brotherhood is really good in this format. I just didn't have a lot of the rogue. I think there was Quicksilver as well. There's not like Mystique in this. It was very much kind of higher in threat stuff. No Toad, for example.
I wish we could have had Toad.
But X-Force ended up being quite good. Just because a lot of models benefit from the reroll. So I actually brought Medusa in my X-Force list just to have a 4 threat.
Yeah, makes sense. I had the kind of same mindset where it's like, that's why I brought Asgard, is because I had most of those Asgard models, because I was a filthy Thor 2 player. I wanted Thor 2, and then I had Bill, and so I was like, hey, cool, that Asgard box is 3 characters right there you can play. So it's pretty easy
and
to fill
15 threat was in the game.
Yeah,
I guess he didn't explicitly state, but the timeline document did not get updated with a new list of crisis.
Yeah. I think if there's something that they maybe change in the future with timeline, I might do that, where it's like, we should update the crisis with it as well. Because it was weird feeling playing old crisis.
Yeah, I guess it's a good way to kind of cap off or do a good farewell to some of the old crisis.
Yeah.
But it definitely felt weird to be playing on 15 E's again.
Yeah, it did. Very much so.
Not even that old.
I know.
Right? So much of the prep going into Adepticon has been getting ready for new crisis.
Yeah, especially because you're playing the new crises in Worlds, and then you're like, oh yeah, I guess I'll slam these old ones in Timeline, and yeah, I know them enough because I played them a lot.
The other aspect of list building for this is there's not a lot of generic cards. I mean, even in general right now, there's not a lot of generic cards. But then if you have to make 30 team tactics cards, you're really looking for characters that have good cards.
Yeah.
X-Force was a mistake in that aspect because things like Cat and Mouse were not legal. So I was bringing things like Dirty Work and Jonathan the Unstoppable because I was trying to get 2 more cards in there.
Oh. Like I ended up bringing Quicksilver just because of his drop card or his steal card.
That was only might have been the only steal in the roster.
I had Namor.
Oh, okay,
Good
sure.
old
And then
Namor.
it just might be those two. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought the list building was quite fun. I found out that Red Skull 2 and Shield, very good. I love that guy.
We saw a lot of Red
Great.
Skull too. I had him in Midnight
Yep.
Suns. I think we
Mhm.
saw a lot of Abomination and a lot of Asgard, Bill,
Oh, yeah.
Jane type stuff.
So yeah, I think that's actually a good jumping off point. I would say I just want to like quickly run through like the games I played. I'm not going to be like, oh, I did this and then round 3 I did this, but just kind of like a general overview.
Mhm.
I brought Asgard. So I did Asgard as my list 1 because to me I wanted to end with Shield because yes, the Shield list is incredibly different than like my normal Shield list, but the tactics cards are the same and Namor is in it and I play a lot of Namor. So I wanted to feel like, hey, usually with tournaments, the third round's your hardest. So I wanted the list that I felt like I was the most comfortable with as 3. And then as 1, I was like, let me just get something that's like I can get my feet wet and like I kind of know how to play, and that's Asgard because John, one of our locals, plays a lot of Asgard, so I know those models really well. And then it was really funny because I played an Asgard mirror match on Researcher at 15 threat. I was like, oh man, this is a blast from the past right now. And it came down where I brought the good old fashioned Thor 2, Jane, and Beta Ray Bill at 15. And then
Everyone's favorite 15.
Right? Yeah, it's great. And then my opponent basically, he tried to go wider. So he had like Scourge, Enchantress, and Valkyrie, and then Jane. And I just killed him, unfortunately, is what it kind of came down to. Is I just kind of played the attrition game and beat him that way.
Do you feel like this was more attrition-y for the timeline event than the Worlds? That's kind of my takeaways. There was a lot more fighting. Even my round 1 was Scoundrels and Cubes, which is a lot of points on the board. But it still came down to who could try to table the other guy faster. Which might be a weird way to play the game, but with so many big models and less generic cards, it ended up just being fightier.
Yeah. And it ended up being like, I also felt like one of the issues that came with was list building was that you kind of had to play almost every single crisis, right? Or I guess maybe the way it was filled out too is I played a lot of E maps because I feel like everybody had a different list they wanted to E in, I felt like. So I feel like they kept coming up.
Yeah, I think you could only skip one of each. You could only skip one extract, one secure there. So
I skipped Senators because I was like, I do not want to play this map without like movement type characters.
With Guardians, I think, was mine. But I skipped Spider Infected. Just can't trust those rolls.
Yep, I just luckily missed it and I didn't actually pull it ever. Round 2, I did Midnight Suns into a Guardians player. Which this is one going into it, I was like, oh, this is going to be kind of rough. Because he's Guardian, so he has lots of energy attack, and I have like Blade and Mummy and Dracula. I'm like, this is not going to go well for me. Luckily, I was able to deploy well. Shout out to Jen with his Red Room training videos, where I was basically able to put my Mummy kind of facing more of his Groot, and his Nova was kind of then more lined up with like my Dracula and stuff. And so like I made it so Mummy didn't die right away. Good opponent. I, for some reason in this game, almost thought out that Man Thing. I thought he had damage reduction. He does not have damage reduction. My opponent was very nice to point that out. He was like, what are you on right now, buddy? That's not true. And I was like, oh, whoops. But this game kind of came down to clapbacks are really good. And so I had a Dracula get hit by a Nova and then turn around and clap back and did 9 damage with a Spender and Daze Nova. Oof. And so that game then ran away from there. And I was like, man, clapbacks, they're very good when you kill opponent mid-activation.
Yeah, I had the same thing, my Dracula into a crystal, so it feels pretty good.
Yeah. Who did you play round 2?
My round 2 was against Rebecca and her Guardians, and I was playing my Guardians, but it came down to she knew that matchup way better than I did. So I actually ended up losing this one. This was one of my losses on day 1, and it's just out-rotated. She was better at moving on infinities and was able to kind of really just control the matchup.
Yeah. Hey, and so yeah, I think that was something I talked about with DeLuca at the end of Saturday, was that timelines it's still just like the fundamentals of MCP, right? Yeah. And so like sometimes you just like if you know like what a generic faction likes to do, it still really comes into that fundamental play.
And how they've advertised this from the AMG side is that they want to highlight someone who's a master of kind of the fundamentals and very familiar with multiple rosters. And I think that kind of shows as well. People who understand Guardians and Asgard did really well.
Yeah, right. Round 3 is when I played Matt from Belgium. Very fun guy. This is one where I think talking to him, he realized that he did his order for his list maybe not the way he wanted to, because he did his weakest list last. So he had a Cyclops X-Men list that I went against with my shield list on like meteors, and it turns out you can do a gunline shield list really good with a Red Skull 2 with a Namor reroll bubble around him. And then I kind of just denied with the push on Red Skull 2 a lot. And I kind of just attritioned him down. And then this was the beginning of like, and this comes up, I'm sure we'll probably talk about this more, to win an event, you got to be lucky sometimes, right? And so I had a streak here where my dice were just really stupid, like fucking stupid. And I was like, all right, you're doing 2 damage. I got 2 rerolls. I'm going to convert both these. I take no damage. I had maybe 4 or 5 instances of that in this game. And I just kept like re-rolling the dice over and over again.
I think I had a very similar streak of luck on round 3 as well. I was playing against Ron from Chicago. This is our second time meeting. Tried getting cute with like a little safe grab from Red Skull and Midnight Suns, and then he runs away to a back scoundrel. And he special deliveries a She-Hulk onto that scoundrel and just deletes Red Skull. Luckily, Blade drops like 15 damage onto Hulk. And
oh my god,
that's
one
crazy.
activation, and that kind of bails me out. So sometimes you need a little bit of luck.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And so then I went 3-0 in my heat. I think I came in second in my heat overall. And then the way they did it that day was that Saturday you did I think it was a top 8 cut in your specific heat. That was like a finals game. So then I played against Gladiator, which was the first time I've ever seen that guy. Boy, I got lucky this game. This game is on stream on Professional Casual. I had 2 or 3 instances where I lined up 4 of my characters for Gladiator's beam. And then my opponent, I forget his name, I think his name is Matt or Matthew. I'm so sorry, I forgot your name, buddy. But he was a really fun guy. He's from Canada. His dice just like betrayed him. And then my defense dice again just were like, hey, I'm going to not die. And then I lived through like 4 beams.
I couldn't even believe it. I'm like, what is he doing? He's just... all right, I guess his dice are just going to win in this game. Like,
yeah.
He's just going to take all these beams and just shrug them off.
Yeah. In my defense, it was on Demons Downtown. So I'm going to be bunched up a little bit because of Demons Downtown. And I had a big old size 4 truck next to me kind of crowding me in.
Shout out to your opponent, though, because Adepticon had a very strict you must be painted policy. So this guy built and painted Gladiator the week of the event.
I know, right? And then I guess I'm curious on how Gladiator is going to feel, because I feel like that game was not how he's normally going to play. I feel like I got lucky on that with the dice rolls. I'm assuming Gladiator is going to probably do a lot more damage, because it was also Gladiator with hammers that was failing as well. But I'm curious to see how much of a carrot. I think he's going to be a good 6th threat going forward. I'm just not positive.
Yeah, we should have some good data over the next couple of months just from other GTs to see what happens.
Yeah. What about you? Who did you play in your first top cut?
So my first top cut was against another Cyclops X-Men. So kind of as we talked about earlier, not every leader was there. So Cyclops was the only leader for X-Men. It was Mayor Fisk. So it was a very close fighty game. And I, much like you, saved my comfort pick, my Midnight Suns for list 3. And I got to play Midnight Suns on probably one of their favorite crises.
Yep.
Not having Immortal Hulk is definitely something that you feel, but having Man-Thing and Wrecking Crew and things like that ended up not really caring about the stun and was just able to really get some good beams down.
Yeah. And that's what it kind of comes down to. Did you have Hulk in your... Yeah, you had Hulk in your Midnight
I had
Suns,
Hulk
right?
in mine, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, because you played against me. I knew that. I thought it was curious how Hulk was in this timeline.
Yeah. He feels even stronger when there's less answers for him.
Yeah, very much so.
Even She-Hulk in a way. My 5 games against She-Hulk, I just felt like, wow, this character is quite tanky when you don't have all the tools you're used to.
Yeah, she's not bad, I'll say. And then actually into the top 8 for the next day. I feel like my Midnight Sun was probably my weakest. I basically just had like Werewolf Dracula Blade that I would spam every game, and then Mummy as well, because they were all like good characters. And then I think the clapbacks kind of saved me a lot. And and then Bump as well with Dracula, super good. And so I think I got kind of lucky with that game. I remember at the end of that game, first of all, oh my god, I wish I remember people's names. I'm really bad with names. I just learned. I think his name is Brian. Super great guy, because he kind of found out that they started the round timer too early. And so they came around and say, hey, this is the timer. So when basically when the hour and a half would end with the plus or minus, I think 5 minutes from a dice roll, they would say, hey, you got 15 minutes to finish this round, and then the game ends, right? So he was like, no, this isn't right. We should have like another like 18, 20 minutes before that actually happens, kind of thing. And if he didn't say that, he would have won that game, because we were in the big like middle of a clapback where I had just dazed a bunch of his characters, and he was waking up and just wrecking me. And so he was going to score higher than me, but he still said, no, that's not right. Let us have the correct amount of time, that I then actually took and won the game because of it. So shout out to him, because he could have just kept his mouth shut and won that game.
Well, I'm glad he spoke up, because that also happened to us. I think at that time I was playing Lucas, and it was my Guardians versus his Apocalypse. So playing the defending timeline champion here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, how'd that game go? Tell me more about that game, because I really wanted to play Lucas in this. I didn't actually match against him, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it was Demons Downtown, which is not terrible for Apocalypse, but it's not what he wants to be doing. He's not super attrition-y. And I had my Guardians. I actually ended up bringing a Cosmic Ghost Rider. Turns out it's still pretty good, especially in a restricted format. Ultron 2, also still very good. And then I think I had Nova on Demons, which was quite fun, especially against Apocalypse, where he drop all those conditions. It was a very dicey game. I think at one point my Star-Lord had a basic whatever element gun, whatever his normal attack is, into a Wolverine and just full KO.
Oh my gosh.
So sometimes you can fail that by dice. And that's kind of a big swing turn, we'll say, is being able to one-shot Wolverine there. But yeah, we had the similar situation where at the end, I think it was like round 3, they're like, hey, 15 minutes till dice down. This seems fast, but okay. So we called another judge over, and turns out they're running like 4 events at this time, right? There's the affiliation battle, there's timelines, there's top cuts for worlds. So they just had their timers swapped a little bit and let us finish playing it out. But yeah, CGR being able to spend a lot of power from his spender and just place and let him turn on objectives for the last round.
I would agree. Like, he's another character. I guess we'll talk about this now. Something that I had thought was playing timelines. I played against characters, and then I played Thor 2 in my Asgard list that were like nerfed, and people are like, "Oh, they're bad now." They're not. Like Thor 2 won me games, right? We'll talk about my next game, but Thor 2 won me that game by himself, kind of thing. And then I played against CGR twice, one in Worlds and one in Timeline. Still a great character, I would say. His ability to have that like range 1 to 5 place makes it you can't get away from the guy. It's really obnoxious.
Yeah, I mean, there was a great podcast that came out right before Adepticon, and this was the Danger Room talking about kind of the downsides of hot takes, or kind of that echo chamber mentality, I think they call it, like these ants that are going in a circle. And that's kind of what we saw with Thor 2 and CGR right after their nerfs. But once you put them on the table, you realize their play patterns are similar enough that you can still get some mileage out of them before they were nerfed.
Yeah, like that's something I was going to say to you, Nick. Is like, I think you should bring CGR back into Guardians.
He's in my list.
Yeah.
I just haven't played him.
Play the guy.
I've been enjoying trying to force Nova.
Nova's very good.
Nova's fun.
Nova is very scary. Because you're like, that's another character. It's like, I can't really do much into him because he moves long and he's going to touch me.
He's really good, especially if you can beam somebody twice like I did once. That was ridiculous. I'm like, how do I have the power to beam you back to back? But
so yeah, like play those characters that got nerfed. I think play Thor too. Like, I mean, I think he just can't go off turn 1 anymore. But like turn 2, 3, 4, 5, like, oh my gosh, he does so much work.
Yeah. One point I maybe want to make about this round going into cuts is, I think, Steven, you and I were talking about this during our game, is that neither one of us really expected to make it this far. Nope. I had mentioned my Sunday was for browsing the expo hall and shopping, and I'm lining up to play against Lucas, and I jokingly tell him, it's like, hey, if you beat me fast enough, I can still go to the Path of the Worthy reveal and still get some shopping in. He's like, hey, don't put that juju out there. Just, play a good game. He's like, just kind of trust in yourself and do well. And it was kind of a great experience to have that type of sportsmanship.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to Lucas a couple times. Really nice guy, I gotta say. Like from a person who's like doesn't even know me. Super friendly and like also like just a very positive person. Which again, I really like that in MCP we have a lot of very positive people in this community.
Yeah, very refreshing compared to other wargaming.
Mm-hmm. Super refreshing. And then I had something else to say off that. I forgot what it was. Oh, I had the same thing with Jen the night before Timelines. I was texting our Alive on One group chat where it's like, all right, what list do I put or what order do I put my rosters in? I'm not really expecting to do well, so I don't really care about like planning out to make the finals. And Jen was like, hey, don't sell yourself short. And then when I made top cut, I remember him messaging like, hey, what'd you say earlier? I'm like, all right, Jen. It was like 20 hours later. I'm like, all right, bud, I get it. So yeah, it was pretty cool to actually do so well. All right, top 4. I played against Matt again, so the Belgian guy again. It's really funny because at this point in the tournament, we were 1-1 against each other. So we joked that this is like who actually is better at the game. Played on Gamma. Boy, oh boy, how I missed that mission. Matt was smart and did not pick 15. And I think we played at... Oh, God, I forget. We're playing... What is... Deadly Legacy Fires? That's 19, right? Yeah, so we're playing at 19. And so I brought basically the same 15, but I put Sif in there. My Jane got dazed turn 1, and I was like, uh-oh, I think this game is going very poorly. But it kind of came over. What happened is Matt kind of pushed everything to the side to kill Jane, so that then Bill, Sith, and Thor could be like up on the midline and be basically uncontested up there. So then I just got to punch everybody really hard later turns. And I think Thor 2 had a turn where he woke up and killed 3 characters in like round 5, and it kind of just ended there because then he had like a Star-Lord and a CGR left, and he just couldn't score fast enough to get ahead of me. So very attrition-y game.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. Who'd you play? You played Ron again, right?
So I played Ron again. This is the 3rd time over the weekend, and we've got, at this point, a good banter going because we've both been pretty dicey games. It was his Brotherhood versus my X-Force, which is, again, my weakest list. I don't feel super comfortable with it, but I've got things like Spaceball, and I've got Juggernaut in there, so I feel somewhat confident. There's 2 size 4s on the table, I believe, which is not what you want to see going into Magneto.
Nope.
It was intrusions, so we knew it was going to be super fighty. Both of us ended up bringing Colossus and Honey Badger just to have those double bodyguards. So we said, you know what? We know it's a dicey game. Let's bring 2 bodyguards each. This was probably my best Alive on One story because I had his Magneto down to 1. Cable is sitting there surrounded by Honey Badger, his Honey Badger, his Colossus, and his Magneto on 1. And I used the much aligned Cable Spinner. I did.
Man, you did it. I've never seen that. I mean, I've seen that ability used, but I've like never seen it be good.
But it got rid of Honey Badger, got rid of Colossus, and I go to roll my dice and get exactly 1 success on Magneto, and he has no blocks on 6 dice. So Alive on 1, but then killed him through the spinner.
Nice. That's awesome.
The other interesting thing about this game is I was down quite a bit, just trying to play to my outs. I think at one point I was down maybe 6 or 7 points, and he was at 15 to my 10. We're going into 5, and they call the 15-minute warning, which, as we said earlier, once you hit the end of that current round after they call the warning, it's done.
Yeah.
I was able to tie it up 16-16 at the end of that game, or the end of that round.
Oh, you tied it? So they make you go on then, or did you have to roll dice?
They were like, well, we don't know what to do here. I think you guys tie the game. But Ron was very adamant. It's like, hey, we should try to play it. Like, it's going to take, because we're going into round 6, it's going to take 10 minutes to play this out. Like, let us at least play it out. They're like, well, maybe it goes to tiebreakers. And luckily the judges came back. It's like, okay, we'll let you play it out another 15 minutes, and then we're going to do a hard dice down.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we played it out, so I was able to kind of secure that. It did come to a hard dice down, but it went in my favor, obviously. But then Ron and I went ahead and played out the last 2 activations, and it didn't matter. I was able to still pull it out, even if we had not diced down.
I got to say, shout out to the judges at this event. They were all great. A little biased because Brian, he's been on this podcast before. He's a dad in New England. He's one of the judges, but every single one of those judges there was a really nice guy. Yeah,
I had a lot of respect for the judges. There was one kind of rule situation that came up. It was day 1 of the Timelines event. It was with No More Mutants / the Shush card with Hit and Run. And they're like, hey, they're not really sure how this works. We think you'll lose your action completely if they No More Mutants when you declare Hit and Run. So it's like, okay, that's how we'll play it. They actually came up to me the next day. This is Sean on the judging staff. He said, I was wrong. I apologize. This is how it should actually be played. I hope it didn't impact your game. So it's like a
that's really
very
nice.
noble thing to do.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
to come up and admit that. So
That's
I had a lot
awesome.
of respect for him.
Yeah. They also did a judge tournament Saturday night, which I thought was really funny, where all the judges got to play like a little tournament against each other, and Adepticon actually gave them medals and prize support for it.
That's
It's really funny. Yeah.
My question is, who judges the judge?
Apparently Will from, or not Will, Tim from Professional Casual, because he was playing in that tournament,
really?
which he wasn't a judge, but sure, whatever.
There we go. All right.
Yeah.
Do you know who ended up winning their event?
It was, it's Tim from Tim France, right? From Professional Casual. I'm not going crazy. All right, yeah, it was Tim versus Sean, and I don't know who actually won up between the two of them.
Cool.
So yeah, on to finals, right? It was me, you in the finals, which I thought was, again, fucking hilarious. And I was like, oh, you're the guy I talked to off the airport.
To make it even weirder, I was the guy that's like, we were at the urinals. It's like, oh, you're here for Adepticon.
Yeah.
So,
lose this guy. He's everywhere.
Yeah, it was fucking hilarious. So yeah, I was running shield with this. Felt really good. Walked up, we rolled fucking researcher and deadly meteors.
So we knew it was gonna be a good slug. And
yeah,
one thing we've talked about, the order of lists somewhat matters, and you mentioned that you went shield last because you played a lot of shield.
Mm-hmm.
We both did the same thing with our restricted cards, and that's put brace and sack, because in my mind those are the two I most played, I feel most comfortable with, and probably the strongest in the list of restricted there. So save those for the last game, and it ended up being kind of almost like a pre-War of the King style game. Like it wasn't that off than a normal spoiler 15 threat game.
Yeah, I felt very much like my Everwinter list, playing a lot of 15 threats, but instead of Hulk, I had She-Hulk for the affiliation of it. Good game, I should say. Like, it was like in a very attrition-y game. I ended up going She-Hulk, Namor, Agent Venom. And I think you were Wong, Man-Thing, Blade, and Hulk. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I debated going up. I think we had 17 or 15 as an option, and trying to figure out how to get Red Skull in there to make it better for scoring with his fronts and things. But it just makes your 15 worse, I think, if you can only do, really, you only have like 3 affiliated models. So
yeah,
forces your 15.
Exactly. And I basically Namor's a 5 threat that's kind of forced in there, which I knew of this 15, I can make it work. Usually in the past, instead of Agent Venom, it's Nick Fury Jr., of course. So I've had some play with it. I've had a lot of testing. This kind of came down to being a shield player. Like, I've played mostly shield. I've had a lot of test games with She-Hulk. Because one thing I did for you is I brought defensive prototype, which I don't always bring out. But I thought it was very helpful this game. So that's a card that makes it so you can't be pushed, thrown, advanced, or anything. You can't be moved, right? So I went into this being like, this is going to be a kill game, right? I'm going to win this by tabling my opponent. So that's when I saw, like, all right, you're going to have a Hulk. You're going to save his activation for last because you're not a bad player. And you could just walk up, throw me off the point, and then you would score 4 and I would score 1. And I would have to start to worry about the points game because then you would bring Researcher back. So I walked She-Hulk up, defensive prototyped on that middle point. Like, I'm not moving. And then I also punched Man-Thing, and I did a lot of this in timelines where I would throw something just into nothing. Where I was like, get this out of here.
Yeah.
Because not having brace on all the time, it was like super important to be like, I got to get this train away from here before my opponent can throw it into me.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the things that really set this game in your favor early, I mean, the defensive prototype was great because Hulk had planned to walk up, throw She-Hulk off the point, and flip that meteor to really get some points going. But one of the other things that I think was important was that you kind of identified that it was going to be an attrition battle early, and I tried to force scoring a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I set Man-Thing up where he was near the center for like a sacrifice, but next turn he could walk to a point and flip if needed, or he could be there to do maybe one attack or something. He said, nope, we're just going to go punch Man-Thing quickly. Try to get him off the board as quickly as possible.
We'll kill that man.
So I lost him pretty early.
Yeah, because I remember looking at that, and then there was a play where I had staggered your Hulk, because that's what my Namor was doing, was putting stagger on everybody, and you had a Wong activation, where I was like, fuck, I want to get rid of Wong, because then you would just activate Wong, get rid of stagger on Hulk, and it feels really bad. And there was I think you were considering like sacrificing it away from Wong into Hulk, I would think.
Yeah, at one point it was a She-Hulk, I think maybe Spender coming in.
Yeah, that's what it
And
was, the spender. Mm-hmm.
once, I think it was maybe round 2 or when I was like, oh, this is going to be much more of an attrition battle than I originally thought. We're just trying to table each other. So I'm like, maybe I do just need to try to save Wong to keep Hulk topped off, get the staggers off Hulk, and just really maximize the amount of damage that can get put out. And I considered sacking something away from Wong into Hulk, but that ultimately doesn't help solve the attrition battle. It just means that I could potentially have you whiff, and then now Wong's alive. But
yeah. I think if I would have failed that attack, I think the game would have probably pivoted right there. And I don't think I would have. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say pivot, actually, because that game was pretty close all the way to the end.
It was.
But, I think I probably wouldn't have, actually, because having Wong on the board to heal your Hulk, because it kind of came down to the end, I had to kill your Hulk. If you're able to like get rid of the staggers and heal your Hulk often, I'd be like, I would be in trouble.
Right. Yeah, and I think Hulk was staggered twice during his activation.
Yeah.
So those mattered.
Mm-hmm. And then you did a really good job of like, I'm going to go with Hulk. I'm going to throw She-Hulk away. And so like your staggered Hulk would pseudo stagger my She-Hulk because she would have to walk back and try to do something. It also turned her bodyguard off, which I was like, God damn, I really wish I could be bodyguarding right now.
She did not get to bodyguard that game, and I don't think she had any superior weight training until the very last attack roll of the game.
Yeah, exactly. I did have, and this is something I you actually had mentioned in the game once, like, do you have any other 4 threats? And I was like, I have Archangel. I could have brought Archangel. But originally I wanted Agent Venom because he can play like Battlefield Medicine. He can play Sit Rep. Mm-hmm. He can play my shield cards. I also thought his beam was very impactful when I was able to beam, I think it was Wong, Hulk, or no, it was Blade, Hulk, and Man-Thing, and a good beam. So I think I really enjoyed bringing him.
Yeah, I think Agent Venom was definitely the right call there because there wasn't a lot of energy besides a Thunderclap to actually punish him.
Yeah.
Which never came up, but it was threatened.
I remember you saying that. I was like, oh no, I'm so scared.
I had the Thunderclap threat. One thing that I think is also interesting about this game is that it was early on, once I realized that She-Hulk could not be thrown, I started to try to use Bump a little bit more defensively to just have Hulk kind of play with a band of She-Hulk's range, because She-Hulk doesn't have any action compression, is try to bump out at the end of the activation. So hold priority, or hold actually the last activation, bump away so I can't just be double attack.
Yeah, I thought that is something with She-Hulk that's very detrimental to her, is that she does not have it. Like, Gamma Leap is so good, and so it really makes you feel like when you're playing She-Hulk, you're like, fuck, I have to walk to punch you.
I have to walk.
Unfortunately, I think between this and the Worlds game, the She-Hulk buffs might be off the table now.
I think you're right.
Winning 2 events there.
Yeah, I remember going to Deluca afterwards and I'm like, man, She-Hulk was on the finals tables of both these events, which is weird, but also hilarious.
And won both. So
I know, right?
They joked with the AMG designers afterwards with Pagani and Sheik that buffs are no longer on the table.
I know, right? I do think she's a good model, and she does have the aggressive, but you were smart. Like, you did not really I think you did 2 damage to She-Hulk that game.
Yeah.
Like, you were not trying to go into her. And so if that happens where no one punches and you can't really get aggressive triggers off, she kind of gets a little slowed down.
Yeah, so maybe, I guess we're burying the lead a little bit, but the game came down to, you've got Wong and Blade off the table and Man-Thing off the table, and I think it was maybe round 5 or something.
Yeah, it was round 5.
I had Hulk maybe at 14, 15 moons, somewhere around there, so he's definitely feeling it. To Namor, who is flipped with 4 damage left, I think. He was getting close. And so that was the one point in the game I had priority. And I think if I was able to take Namor off the board there, it gets a little bit closer. But
yeah,
Invaders rerolls and Namor rerolls really came through clutch there.
Yeah, they saved my ass in this whole tournament, I would say. Those rerolls. And I will say, it's kind of funny. It came down to Namor activated Spendered, I think. And then I think you had like 4 or 3 health left on Hulk. So then She-Hulk went, punched you, whiffed, punched you a second time, was able to get enough damage that Hulk was alive on 1. I'm going to say Hulk was alive on 1. So then She-Hulk just picked him up and threw him into a building and killed him. So that's
Embrace was already gone.
Yeah. So that's probably my best alive on 1 that I'll ever have, is the alive on 1 to win timelines.
Yeah,
using She-Hulk, no less.
I know, right?
The She-Hulk throw, yeah. So the other point that's kind of interesting about timelines is AMG has kind of always pitched this as, I think they even called it like their premier tournament format. It's how they originally wanted to pitch this. And it gets memed on a little bit for being premier, but also very restrictive. But they went all out for the trophy this year.
The trophy was something.
I know.
Are you bringing that tomorrow? I want to see that in person.
No, because it's kind of fragile.
Dang, it made it in an airplane. It's fine.
Yeah. I maybe bring it for like, I'm going to bring it because I have to go to work tomorrow and then go to our game night. Our game nights are on Thursdays. So after tomorrow.
So for those who haven't seen, I think you can go to Jonathan Ho's Instagram, or it's actually been in the Marvel Crisis Protocol Facebook group as well. And Jonathan Ho's won Path of the Worthy for the past couple of years. And they commissioned him to make this like Daughters of Thanos fight scene, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Really cool.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous.
It's fucking sick. I'm looking at it right now because it's on my desk now. I didn't know that was the trophy until the Sunday of Top Cuts, and I was like, "Ooh, fuck, that'd be cool shit to get."
Everyone got a little bit more motivated once they saw that.
I know, right? I was like, "Ooh, that's awesome." It was also fun. I guess we can talk about this now. Getting this thing home wasn't that fun. But luckily, they had a box. Jonathan packed it in foam really well, so it had a box of foam in it that I kind of sit into really nicely. So I ended up checking my backpack, and I carried my model case, or like my Magnarack model case, and then I carried my box with my trophy in it. And I had to go to the flight attendants and be like, "Can you put this in the closet in the front of the plane, please?" And they always looked at me like, "What the fuck is this?" But they did it. Thankfully, they're nice. And then also, on my flight back home, I got delayed in Detroit from a storm for like 9 hours. So my like 9:50 flight got canceled until 7 a.m. the next day.
Oh, gosh.
So I slept in the terminal in the Detroit airport with just me, my MCP models, and my trophy.
Just like hugging his models on the floor.
Yeah. Like me and this little guy. But I was blown away when I first actually looked at it and picked it up. I'm very happy with it.
It's very cool.
And the prize support for Adepticon being an official AMG sponsored event was quite good too. So not only is it even for like worlds or affiliation battles or whatever, they have a bunch of just random MCP boxes, whether it's characters or terrain or even like dual packs up there.
Yeah, they do the thing that Brian does, our local TO here for like Edward Ironweld, where it's just like random people, right? We hit the random button, you get to pick a prize. Random button, you get to pick a prize. So I won a Abomination, thankfully. So I got him. I got Psylocke. I got a lot of models that I actually don't have, which is awesome.
Yeah, I for the timeline event, they're like, you can go pick 2 boxes, and they had the Asgard terrain up there. So I grabbed 2 boxes of Asgard terrain without realizing how big those are. Trying to pack those to get them back home was a bit challenging.
Yeah. So yeah, that was timelines. Really fun finals game. You were a great opponent. We had a really nice like sportsmanship issue where you let me. I had realized I had missed the timing for a Battlefield Medicine on Namor, which was crucial. And you let me go back and do that because I gave you let you go back and do a healing factor on Man Thing. So thank you for that, because again, you could have said no and you probably would have won the game.
I think we both realized it's like no dice were rolled. We just put the checks down. We're like, you know what? We it doesn't change anything or any decisions.
Yeah,
let's just go and do it.
Yeah, I would say I had a I had a lot of moments like that where it was like a really obvious, like, we haven't really progressed. Like, yeah, if it was like 5 dice rolls later, yeah, maybe they'll do that. But I had a lot of games where people were like, yeah, absolutely, go do that. Or I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, do your reroll or do your healing factor. Like, do the thing that you're obviously going to do.
Yeah, and I think another thing that's kind of cool to point out is you really knew the rules when it came to things like throws. And there was one point where we were lining up a pretty important throw. She-Hulk, I think, was throwing a blade away.
Yeah, I was trying to throw a blade into Man Thing to ping 1 damage to kill him.
But also to dodge Hulk on the way, because Hulk's base is right there. So we put the template down where we thought it looked good, and we called the judge. It's like, can he perform this throw? Like, we're sticking with it no matter what, but just walk us through it. So shout out to the judging staff, because they
I really enjoyed Nate being like, oh wait, I have to, because like whenever you do that with a judge, if it's a throw, like if you ever have this question going forward and you want to try to get a throws to hit characters like this, you can't go to a judge and be like, hey, can you make it so this happens, right? You have to put the movement talent pool down and declare it, and then you can call a judge and say, hey, can you move these models and see what happens, right? So shout out to Nate, because it was funny because he came over and was like, oh yeah, I already have down. That's the throw. Just can you find out?
And you can see the relief in his eyes. He's like, oh, thank goodness, I don't have to explain this on a top table.
Yeah, I know, right? I missed, unfortunately. I missed both those. I guess Blade didn't hit anybody, and I was like, womp womp.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
So I guess the question is, are you going to be playing Timelines next year?
1,000%. I had so much fun with this event.
Yeah, I signed up for this because there wasn't anything I necessarily wanted to do on Saturday.
Yep, same.
I wasn't necessarily interested in like the new Crisis in Town or whatever side event was running. And I was like, yeah, I'll give this a shot. And from the hobby perspective, from the gaming perspective, it was like a really fun way to try out kind of a different format.
Absolutely. I'm going to 100% sign up for this again. I hope more people do. It is a super fun format, just to like play different stuff, because like you also go into games and some people are like, you can tell like people aren't on their A game. People aren't like, I know exactly what to do in turn one, right? And so it makes the game a lot more like strategic and thinking out of like certain plays, or like, I did not expect you to do whatever you just did there, and you have to kind of think it through. It was very fun, and it's also kind of fun to play new factions, I will say, as somebody who's played Shield for 2.5 years. I did enjoy playing Midnight Sun monsters quite a lot.
Yeah, and the games where both players are not on their comfort end up being super scrappy, and that's just a fun MCP experience.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I have like the stats of it. It's not super exciting. It's kind of, when you looked at the factions that are available, it makes sense that Guardians, Asgard, Midnight Sun were the top brought factions. I thought APOC at 7 was a little low, but it also makes sense. Like, I didn't bring APOC. I have him, and I played him a couple times, because that is such a complicated faction that I was like, I don't have the time to try to figure out how to build this list, so I didn't even bother bringing them.
Yeah, and there were some key elements missing. Toad being one of them.
Yeah, that's true. But again, I also wanted a Force Shield, so I had Force Shield. And it worked out for me. So then, I think we'll get Nip back into this a little bit more too. I had posted on our Discord and our Facebook and stuff for like listener questions about like timeline and thoughts that people have on stuff like that. So I'm going to run through these, unless Nick or Zeke, do you have any other lingering thoughts about timeline or Adepticon in general?
No, I think I'm good.
Cool. All right. So first one's from Dave. What was our favorite reveal from the reveal show? Zeke, do you know one off the top of your head?
Yeah, so I'm a big Spider-Verse person. That was probably the last big comic run I ran was the Spider-Verse stuff, and I absolutely love the movies. So I was stoked to see Silk and Spider-Noir and the actual painted models for Miguel O'Hara.
Yeah.
So that was like not something that was a surprise. We saw these last year, but incredible to see that. And then seeing all the like the new Sentinel stuff, the X-Men 97 kind of War of the Kings style missions that they're going to do next year, the Nimrod and Bastion and stuff seems really cool.
Yeah, I think the Nimrod model looks really cool.
Yeah, and then we
first.
saw Phoenix's card, and it was like another reason to put Adepticon on your radar is that everyone who played in Worlds got to take home a foil stamped Phoenix card, which is just awesome.
Be jealous of that.
I did see someone sell theirs on the spot for like $60, which was crazy.
Yeah, I would not pay $60 for it, but
still, it is on Cerebro already, so you don't necessarily have to buy it, but it was cool.
It's got a fancy stamp on it, I guess. Yeah.
So Nick, what was yours?
Yeah, what was yours, Nick?
What was my biggest, like, I don't know. I think I'm excited that Sentinels are getting more support, I suppose.
Yeah.
Outside of that, most of those characters are not the most exciting characters to me. I like Phoenix because I like X-Men. But
dude, what are you talking about? Kang was revealed.
I don't care.
Dude.
I could care less. I'd rather they reveal Doctor Doom. Where's Doctor Doom? If they had revealed Doctor Doom, I'd be over the moon.
Take what you can get, though.
No, I'll take it, but it doesn't mean I want it.
That box with Kang and Iron Lad and like the...
was it Warmonger?
Maybe the big
it was Warmonger.
Suit. Looks like
it's Warmonger.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm super excited for that. I love the way that all those looked.
They look good.
Yeah, actually there's an interview with Fury's Finest that kind of talks a little bit about what King's going to play like, which is kind of a cool little listen.
And I heard that too. He's a leader. He doesn't have a new faction, but he knows a leader. So I'm guessing he's a Cabal leader then. Yeah. Would be the most sense.
For Kang.
Yeah,
that would make the most sense, I think.
That's exciting. And then Dave's last little thing, is there anything you would change about the timeline format? I think we talked about that. I would make the new crises fit into the timeline. Anything else, Zeke?
No, I think the new crisis makes a lot of sense. I wish there were more generic cards, but we're just at a state in MCP right now. There's just not a lot of generics in general.
Yeah.
I think Recal and Warpath might have been the only ones really that were playable. I guess joint effort, but there still wasn't a whole lot.
What do you mean heavy firepower?
I guess that is an option. Maybe it might have been better than dirty work, I guess.
Yeah. I guess I don't know if you listened. That was an early episode where Bork and I did, like, we each made a Sentinel list to talk about Sentinels and how you would do it. And we're going through Bork's team tactics cards, and I see heavy firepower. I'm like, why the fuck is heavy firepower in here? And he's like, oh, it gives you like better range 4 attacks. I'm like, your only range 4 attack in this entire list is fucking Taskmaster Shield Throw.
Shield throw.
So it's
Well,
like,
make it
that's
better
for that.
Ugh.
So it's like, that's the secret tech right there. So it always makes me laugh when I see that card now. What about you, Nick? Did you have anything that you would think that you would want to change with timeline?
It's hard to make a call when I actually haven't played the format, right? So I don't know. You're probably right with the crises, but having not actually played a timeline format, I don't really have an opinion.
Yeah. We'll get one at Crossroads. It sounds like people are interested in trying it because it was pretty fun. Cool. I laughed at the next question is from fucking Brian. It's like, who's your favorite judge and why it was me? But then Zeke, I like your answer here to kind of shout out how Sean, again, like the judges were great at Adepticon, I have to say.
Yeah, this is kind of my story around the No More Mutants and just having a judge kind of take the high path and say, yep, I was wrong. I apologize.
Yeah.
It could have impacted your game, but luckily it didn't.
Yeah. And then Kenny asked, let's get the first one, but like coming from smallish events in New England to Adepticon, was it a shock to go from like a small event to a big event? Or was it generally pretty nice? I would say, I mean, I'm maybe not the best person to fit here because I played at LVO before and that was a very large event, but for me, it felt just like those bigger 40K events. But even that, like, it was a lot of people there. It was a big event, but it was like super easy to socialize and everyone there was super nice. And it wasn't like hard at all because it was a big event. I don't know how you felt, Zeke.
Yeah, it feels like everyone's there just to play more MCP. So everyone's kind of excited to be playing. And the ticket wall is like a good unifying feature. Everyone there is kind of just trying to get tickets, but it's not cutthroat. You know you're going to get what you want. So everyone is there. It's like, oh, did you get your dice or did you get your templates or whatever now? And it's kind of a great way to just like strike up a conversation with a complete stranger.
Yeah. So I wouldn't worry about that. And like, it wasn't like the entire Adepticon. I mean, I guess it wasn't one big hall room, but it was like, it was sectioned off. So you were just in like the AMG section. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, there's 9,000 people around me.
Yeah, I'm so used to large events. Even if I'm not playing 40K, hearing an orc walk across the hall.
Yeah.
It was so spaced out. I didn't hear a single one this weekend.
I know, I didn't either.
Kind of refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah, Nick, I don't think you can really answer that. I'm sorry. It's not a question for you. And then Sean I thought this was a good one. And I think we've talked about this maybe some, but we've also talked about maybe doing like a whole episode about this, is from a mental aspect of the tournament. How do you handle like the pressure of large scale events? Do you do anything particular extreme matches? Do you make sure you prepare like anything special like the morning of? I left on here. I wrote, I don't eat eggs because eggs and I don't agree. So I just avoid, but it's a kind of like, I try to eat healthy in the morning. So I'm actually like fueled for it. I'm not like tired. I try not to drink really heavily or anything like the night before, so I'm not hungover or anything like that. That always helps me out quite a lot. And then in between rounds, I try to like walk around, always get a refill of water. I take lots of deep breaths. I usually like call or text my wife, and like stuff like that to kind of take my brain off of the next round. I try not to think about like, oh, let me pull up the next opponent's list and see what I can, nitpick before it. I kind of just try to relax and turn my brain off MCP for a little bit. And that was really helpful. One thing that was a little challenging with Adepticon is we only had like 30-minute lunch breaks. So you couldn't really, at least for me, because like all the lines were super long and I didn't really want to wait in it. So I ate a lot of protein bars for lunch. But
yeah,
you were fine. You do the Maddox special anyways.
I do.
The adult lunchable, like
yeah. I did go to a Walgreens the day before, like when I got in on Thursday. I looked for adult lunchables, but I could not find any.
I think the protein bars are essential though, because I think it was Friday. I had time like an hour between rounds, and so I went and stood in line for food. And this new venue has quite a few options. There's a lot of like, we'll call it convention food in the back of the hall, but then they brought in a lot of like local pizza places and like stir fry places. But it was still a good 30-minute wait in those lines.
Yeah.
So having bananas or protein bars or water bottles is pretty important.
Yeah, I would agree. And then like you're not overly full and tired the next round because you just ate a bunch of food.
Right. One of the things that I guess I've kind of prepared from the mental aspect is I used to put a lot of weight on the 40K side of things. I need to go at least 3-2 or 4-1. And I think as soon as you just tie yourself to that type of mentality, it just creates too much pressure. So just going to Adepticon to have fun is super important.
And that actually might be a good example of like, I mean, that could be why maybe I did so well on timelines, is I went in with like no expectations and I just played the game. And I wasn't trying to like think about, oh, how do I do this most effectively? Oh, how to do this most effectively? I'm like, oh, that seems like the right play to go. And I did that play.
Yeah. As soon as you start over analyzing your opponent's list and you get out of your comfort zone. And so I think just like be happy to be there and playing games.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you put the little Jin comment in here. It's like, after a game, do you feel like did you enjoy every decision you make, or you feel like every decision you make was a good idea? Yes, then don't feel bad about losing that game, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think feeling confident in playmaking in the moment is important. And then if it didn't work, kind of learn from it, but don't dwell on it going into the next game. The game's over, walk around, get some water, your protein bar, whatever you need, call the wife, and then just move on.
Yeah. I like Brandon's question. How did Shield feel in Worlds? Would you change anything? It felt pretty good, right? I feel like Shield in Worlds, or I guess like normal Challenger right now, I enjoyed that they feel a little bit more like extract play. We're using the Black Widow 4 threat and grunts more often. One thing I would change, that I did change going into my Friday event, which is the New Crisis in Town, is I took Hawkeye out and put Mummy in, just because he's such a good 3 threat. And he's so durable, and he's got mystic attacks. I used him in my web matchup on that round 3 that day. And he just brings a lot to that list. So I want to try and bring more Mummy into Shield. Do you guys have any other Shield thoughts?
I went on a Shield streak of maybe January and February this year just to really learn them. Mm-hmm. And I played Mummy there, and he was quite good.
Yeah.
But I am no means an expert in Shield.
I wouldn't really say I am either.
Okay.
I just play him a lot. But it feels good having your grunts give you soul tokens all the time, I will say.
Yeah.
That sounds annoying is what that sounds.
Yeah. It's great. And then he heals for like 3 damage and he doesn't die. And you're like, fuck this guy. Hate this guy. And then Matt asked, kind of talk about this, like, do you know the order you're playing your list in? You do. And I think that's actually kind of one of the fun parts, is that I was imagining timelines when I read this question. I was like, I wonder what timelines would be like if you got to pick your list when you walked up and see your opponent's list, but that sounds like too much to think about.
Yeah, Shatterpoint kind of does this in the aspect that you have 4 squads and you have to use them all throughout the day, but you can choose when you use them. Mm-hmm. It does create a lot of bookkeeping problems. So if your TO has to bookkeep who's played what, so I think just having a set order is pretty clean. And
then it kind of forces you to play those maybe not perfect matchups, but you still have to play them and go around it. So I think it's more fun that way. I put in 2 more questions here after, so I'm not sure if you've seen this yet. But Jen asked, how does Zeke decide which leader he uses? When does he use Sandman? Is that for your Midnight Sun list?
I'm assuming that's in reference to Elsa, because I don't think Sandman was actually legal. I did not have Sandman. But I had both Elsa and Blade in my Midnight Suns. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like Elsa as a leader, so I never used her as a leader. But I did put her on the table once this weekend, and she was perfectly fine.
Yeah. That's what, like, both my Midnight Sun games, I had that. She's in my Midnight Sun list too. I can't talk. And I remember thinking, like, do I want this? I'm like, no, I'm bringing Dracula, so I want Bump. Like, it's as simple as that. And it's like, no, I just don't want to.
Bump, it's good for attrition, and it's good for scenario. So I bump most of the time, but she's there if I want a mystic gun, something with a little bit more range, like the webs. Yeah,
that's true. Probably be very beneficial on webs. Luckily, they were not in this timeline, so I didn't have to think about the webs matchup at all. It was great.
Next year, though.
Next year, I know. I hope we do like street level stuff next year. It's like defenders, webs.
Oh, but webs will just dump. I guess where you have to bring 3 lists, you only have to worry.
Well, the good news is also then, but they could also just choose only one of the Spider-Men, and they can't have spectacular or amazing. Yeah. So they're saying, it's only amazing this year.
Yeah, it could be all like the new Spider Foes that get released, right? And so like they don't have Miles, they don't have spectacular and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds awesome. I hope they do that now, actually. And then Alyssa asked, do you wish you had switched the order of your timeline's roster? I don't think so. I mean, I guess I could have maybe put Midnight Sun first and then Asgard second, just because I felt weakest with Midnight Sun. So I could say, hey, I'm going to bring them first because that might be the matchup where I can get away with it most. But there's also those random round one matchups where you get paired against somebody really good. So it's like, no. So I'm pretty happy with the order I went in.
Yeah, I think my order I'm pretty happy with as well. Just it's worth keeping in mind that by Saturday when we're playing these events, we've already been gaming for 2 days. By round 3, that's kind of a minimum of 10 games that you've already played.
Yeah.
So going comfort last, I think is very important. My only change is X-Force isn't very good without Cat and Mouse. I thought they could be fine, but I would probably drop it for Brotherhood if I were to replay this.
Yeah, and Brotherhood without Brace all over the place feels so good too.
Yeah,
it feels so nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the end of. Actually, I think I got one more for Omnis that he dropped in. Any Adepticon lists surprise you and make you think about wanting to try them out?
Yeah, from the world side, we saw Graham do a pretty serious run with Kingpin Criminals, and it's like in hindsight not that surprising, but he was Kingpin only, and I think by the end of Saturday he hadn't lost a game all weekend. Which
wow, he was Kingpin only, even because I feel there's a lot of pay to flips in these new crises.
Well, that's the thing, is it feels like there's a lot, but I think the number is exactly the same because we had some leave and some come in. But yeah, I mean, this guy's been playing Kingpin for a while, so he's kind of mastered him. I know he gets a lot of shout outs for being just really good with the extract side of Kingpin's leadership. Yeah. So it was awesome to see him do well, but surprising to see how well he did.
Yeah. I think they're a good like sleeper list, or if you're interested in criminals, you should play them. Because like I feel like without the E-maps and everything being like as crazy attrition-y, I feel like then like that leadership is
very
a little tough to play around sometimes if you're not ready for it to actually stand on these cures.
The elephant in the room is also Mike DeLuca's list, which is triple affiliated.
Yeah.
With
A-Force is one of the options. Yeah.
A-Force, Asgard, Avengers, and I think there's even both Captain Americas in there.
I think you did have 2 of them.
4 leaders.
Oh man, that guy's brain is so big.
Yeah, I had the privilege of playing him Thursday night, and it's basically he can bring in Asgard for the Apocalypse matchup, or not Asgard, bring in A-Force for the Apocalypse matchup, and he has multiple size 4 throws just to bully Apocalypse.
Yeah, that fits. I know he loves Jane, so that makes sense that he's running her so much.
There was a lot of Jane this weekend, actually, which was kind of surprising. I played maybe 3 or 4 Janes, whether it was Avengers or A-Force, and that was a bit surprising to see how well she did.
I was pleasantly surprised playing her myself. Her spender is very good. It's range 4, which my golly, that is a very large, very far range spender that is 8 dice.
Yeah, and just make sure you do it at range 4 so you don't accidentally kill yourself with the splash damage.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, I loved her. She was very good.
Nick, did you get a chance to look at any of the top lists from the Worlds?
I haven't actually. I should have. I didn't actually go back and look at the Worlds one.
I didn't look at any of them.
I think there was some Midnight Sun, some Apocalypse. So it's, I guess, somewhat expected, but it was awesome to see Apocalypse come in second there too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, right. And Ben's a local guy to us. Well, I'm not super local, but New Jersey. We see him a lot at local tournaments up here, like Everwinter and stuff.
And I think he also had kind of an insane run with only 1 loss over the weekend.
Yeah, he was doing very well. And I remember talking about afterwards, he kind of, it kind of came down to like more positional play, where like, hey, his Apocalypse couldn't walk across the board the way he thought he could. And it's a good kind of explanation of like DeLuca just knows that stuff really well because he plays so much, right? So yeah. I feel like DeLuca's a player that if you play against DeLuca, you probably cannot make a mistake.
Yeah.
Because he will just punish you for it. Were there any other Shield lists that did well in the Worlds finals or Worlds?
I didn't look for Shield specifically.
I have to go back and look. Get some ideas to steal from other people.
I'm gonna get some ideas, swap out one character.
Hey man, hey, one at a time, and then you know if you're making the right choice or not, right?
Oh, but what if 2 of those characters work well together? But you'll never know because you don't swap in 2 at a time.
And then I'll play Timeline, which is just wildly different. Nick, what is this chat GDP you put into this?
I don't think it's. I was just
yes?
being funny. I was like, let's see what ChatGPT has to say.
Did you ask it like what is Adepticon?
Oh, what did I ask it? Hold on. I asked it at first, do you have any questions for the Alive on One podcast about Adepticon? And then it gave me like 7, and then I asked it to come up with just 1. And it actually did a fairly decent job at coming up with a question.
Nice. Zeke, have you listened to the episode where Nick came up with a MCP list just off of Chat GDP?
No, I don't think I have.
It is.
I think there might be a couple.
Pretty funny.
I think that's a good tournament coming up. Is everyone has to make a list based off what ChatGPT tells them to do.
Oh, that would be funny.
Oh, that would be
Crisis
so
and all.
We had one that it was apparently Namor is stronger around water terrain, according to it. So we're like, oh, we gotta get some like fish tank terrain to put on the table. It kept trying to put like America Chavez into MCP.
Yeah.
And he's like, nope, she's not in the game.
Doesn't exist yet. So.
You just get to make up your rules for her.
Yeah.
It's pretty comical.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So we like to throw the little ChatGPT things in these episodes now. Yeah, I think that's it. Unless you guys have any other fun ideas about Adepticon or anything else that we feel like you didn't cover.
I think you hit it all, right?
Yeah, I guess the big takeaway is it's always been a great event, but it's gotten bigger, and AMG support just makes it kind of like a must-attend event if you're a big MCP fan.
I think it's a good way
to go all out for it.
And I want to play it next year and play more timelines. Man, that style is actually quite fun.
Yeah, timelines looks
give it a shot.
Yeah,
play the full 3 rounds, put your list to tests, and have some fun with it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think with that, we'll make our way out of here. So like always, follow us on Instagram, Alive on One. Our Discord link will be below. Pretty active down there. I want to bug Zeke to post his worthy models down there. You can always email us at aliveon1@gmail.com. We are on a couple RSMP battle reports, so you can always find us there as well. Please leave a review on Apple or Spotify, even if it's a bad review, because I enjoy reading bad reviews. And also it just helps us kind of get out there. I was surprised at Adepticon. I had a couple people just come up to me and start talking to me because of this podcast, and I was blown away that people actually know who we are. And so that was really cool to see. So if me, Bork, or Nick are ever at or Jen are ever at events, please come up and talk. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody. It's actually quite nice to hear. What is his name?
Oh no, you forgot another name.
So bad
nice
with names.
going.
No. Aaron. I think it's Aaron. From Trader A. It's the companies that buys and sells used models. Came up to me and just gave me affiliation tokens that he had 3D printed. So
that's really
thanks,
cool.
Man. That's awesome. He gave me one for every single one of my timeline rosters, which is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so I now have Shield affiliation tokens that are special. Our affiliate link will be below for Huge Miniatures, so check them out. Zeke, do you have anywhere that you want people to find you or anything like that, or anything else you want to shout out?
I try to keep it simple. All of my Discord names are just Zeke, so it should be easy to find me in pretty much all the major podcast Discords, and I'm on some of the Facebook groups as well. So feel free to reach out if you want to talk Midnight Suns or timelines or painting. Happy to chat.
Yeah, I'll probably look about painting stuff in the future.
Sounds great.
What about you, Nick? Any last closing thoughts?
I have none.
Perfect. Well, then, like always, Godspeed, She-Hulk.